Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. So, let's get started. Our first story is titled, Am I the jerk for letting my daughter set up an aquarium after my fiancé and I agreed to no pets? I am a 44-year-old male, and I've been engaged to my fiancé, a 37-year-old female, for about a year now. I have one 13-year-old daughter, and she has an 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. We have been slowly combining our little families, but we decided it would be for the best if we didn't completely combine our homes until we were completely married in order to send the best message to our kids. Only the finest, only the best. We also agreed not to buy any pets until we were completely together so that any animals under our roof were completely equal and all of ours. My daughter has been telling me for a while she wants an aquarium for her room. She's always loved watching fish swimming around in tanks. I told her that if she gets good grades in her last semester and helped out around the house, that she could have one. She did what I asked, so I bought her an aquarium and the necessary supplies and some tropical fish. She's done a great job at being responsible for her aquarium so far. When my fiancé found out about my daughter's aquarium, she kind of flipped out. She said that she's been denying her kid a pet for the past year. She said that her son especially has been begging her for a puppy, but she has kept telling him no because that's what we had agreed to, even though she wants to get him a puppy. I think that an aquarium with a fish is a completely different sort of deal. I also think that my daughter is getting a little older and more independent and should be given more privileges, but my fiancé seems to think I went against our agreement that we had. Am I the jerk?
Yes.
You know, this is actually a little bit more tricky for me. I mean, I know that we don't completely see eye to eye on this one because just sometimes we don't. But in this particular case, like a fish isn't. I think that, okay, let me clarify. I think he's a jerk. And the reason why I think he's a jerk is because he went ahead and bought a fish without consulting her and, violating the agreement that they had. I do agree with him that a fish isn't the same kind of responsibility. It isn't the same kind of idea as a pet. You're not going to walk your goldfish down the street. And they don't really need that much care or maintenance. It's really kind of a very, they're more to observe and less pets is kind of how I view fish.
My philosophy, and I think we're in agreement on this, is that he made an agreement with his partner. They agreed that they would not get any pets independently so that any pets they had together would be equally all of theirs.
Yeah.
He has bought a fish to be specifically his daughter's, while his fiancée has been holding up her end of the deal and denying her children puppies because they agreed to no pets. So I think he's a jerk for one, going behind his fiancée's back when they are planning on merging households in the future. And two, also for I think anytime you bring a pet into a household, you should at least make sure all of the adults in the household are on board with it, even if the pet is living in the child's room. Like, it should be a mutual decision that everyone's in agreement with.
I mean, so I think that they should have clarified well ahead of time what they meant by pets if they didn't feel like that the tropical fish were really pets per se. And I think that's where he messed up the most here in this situation. Like, clearly he has a different idea about what qualifies as a pet than her. And I think that, like, a puppy is a completely different ball game.
I'm not disagreeing that a puppy's a different ball game, but I think
I think he should have talked to her.
Right,
at the
and I
very
think that's,
least.
like, I can't say anything but he's a jerk because he didn't even discuss this. He just kind of unilaterally made a decision that, I mean, it may minimally affect their household. Like, it doesn't have the same implications as a puppy that's running around your living room.
Mm-hmm.
But it does show that he doesn't really think that her opinion matters here. And he also got a pet that was just his daughter's instead of one that's everybody's when they talked about having a pet as like a family thing.
Yeah, but I think that's more of a miscommunication on his part. I don't think he did this maliciously.
I'm not saying he's malicious, but I'm saying he doesn't have a lot of consideration about her and her feelings if that's the case. Like, it doesn't seem like he gave it any thought about her.
No, I agree that he probably didn't give it a lot of thought. But I also think that he just didn't think a fish was a qualifying pet.
Yeah, I just find that really weird because I feel like any animal you bring into your home is a pet.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really consider fish pets. I mean, they are pets a little bit, but I really feel like a pet is a creature that is able to like interact with you on some level.
Fish can interact with you.
Yes, they can kind of interact with you. Sometimes they'll follow your finger because they think it's a worm and they want to eat the worm that they see floating around. So if that's interacting with your fish, then I mean, yeah. I mean, okay, some fish are probably smarter than that. I'm not saying they aren't. You know, I think we're getting into the weeds here. I think we kind of already had covered the main topic points here. Let's move on.
Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my daughter she'll never make a career out of working with dogs?
Yes. That's not a jerky thing to do at all.
It is a jerky thing to do, and we've got even more evidence than just the title. My daughter has always been extremely smart, but one thing she's always been determined about is she wants to work with dogs, so I always pushed her to become a vet. She was coming around to the idea of in high school when she came across some article about mental health problems in vets, and she said, nope, no way. Instead, she did her exams at 16 and applied to do a course on animal care at a local college. During that, she discovered a love for dog grooming, which I told her she would never make good money from. Again, she wouldn't listen to me. After her course, she finished when she was almost 18 and applied to become a qualified dog groomer at another college. She's done this and loved it, setting up her own salon a few years later with the help of her dad's money. She quickly grew bored of being indoors all day, though, and decided to hire another groomer to keep the salon open in the afternoon, while she became a dog walker in the afternoons. Again, as she's so good with dogs, business quickly took off, and she ended up hiring a couple of dog walkers to work alongside her. Now it seems she's bored again and she wants to become a dog behaviorist. Her dad said that he wants to pay for the qualifications for her as a present. He's so proud of what she's done, but personally, I don't think she's achieved that much. She doesn't have a true career and changes her mind every 5 minutes. I told her she'll never have a true career if she works with dogs, so there's no money in it. She seems to think she can have some sort of big doggy empire where she offers lots of services because things are going so well for her at the moment and everyone recommends her locally. She has no plan if it all falls flat on her face. Needless to say, my ex-husband is furious at me for what I said, and it's making me wonder if I was a jerk.
No. I think that this is pretty reasonable. Like, there's clearly no money to be made in dog care. And, like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like she's just doing poorly and not making ends meet, even though, you know, she's hired a few people.
Yeah, she's running her own business.
And run her own business.
Has hired employees to help her.
I mean, OP, you're completely right. There is no demand for this whatsoever. And clearly, it's just all falling apart on her. Right, Amber?
No. So I think OP is definitely a jerk here. I mean, first of all, she seems very, like, upset that her daughter doesn't have, like, a fancy, expensive professional career. But not everyone wants or should be a vet. Like, mental health is a valid reason not to go into a career. If you know something is likely to harm your mental health, then, like, that's definitely a good reason not to go into it.
Yeah, and serving in the military is actually really bad for the mental health for some folks.
But, I got so confused. I was like, yes, that's true, but I don't see how that connects. But that was not, we were talking about that in a different sense. I'm slow. My brain doesn't process those kind of things correctly. So, like, he'll say those things and it'll take me like 10 minutes to catch up with him.
This video I just cut, there was a big 10-minute long pause.
There wasn't a 10-minute long pause. It was like 10 seconds this time around, but I am a little slow with those. But no, so I mean, and then so she gets her own dog grooming business and she decides to hire someone else for the afternoon and starts walking dogs. She hasn't given up on the original plan. She's expanded her business model.
Yeah.
So then she is able to hire other dog walkers to work with her, and now she wants to add another service on. Like, yeah, maybe she doesn't love every aspect of her business, but it seems like it's all part of the same thread.
Well, and she's growing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing is her business is growing, she's growing as an individual, And she's making good decisions, and I think that's all really important. And I think that she's doing a good job here. And I think that OP is just a very bitter person.
That's what it sounds
and,
like.
You know, the thing is that there's an old expression, when all of your friends are crabs, they'll just continue to pull you down. And the thing is that kind of comes from an expression where if you have a bucket of crabs, right, you catch crabs and you throw them into a bucket, and
do not try this at home.
What will happen is the crabs will grab each other and pull them back into the bucket, you know, and stop any of the other crabs from escaping. At least this is what I've heard. I've never gone crabbing. And so that's where this kind of expression is. And so if all these people you know are crabs, they're just going to continue to drag you back down into the bucket, and so that you can never get out.
Yeah, well, and like also like the mom's, oh, she has no plan if this fails. Like, but how many of us are working at a job and don't really have like necessarily like a full backup plan? Like, it's normal to not have everything sorted out, especially at 20 years old. Like, she is young, she's running a business, and a lot of businesses do fail over time. But if it does, it's not the end of the world. She can do something else and like
groom more dogs.
I mean, yeah, like she has the training to do lots of dog related stuff, and I don't think that getting more qualifications is like a bad thing. It sounds like the mom is just bitter that she didn't do a traditional 4-year liberal arts degree or vet school or something.
You know, again, I kind of see where the mom is going for this. Dogs are just kind of a fad. And I mean, eventually people are just going to get tired of them and be like, yeah, we don't want dogs anymore. They're just, the demand is eventually just going to drop off. It's just going to...
Yeah, clearly.
You know, the last 100,000 years that humans have, you know, been with dogs is just, you know, it's a trend. It's a trend. It's a fad. It's bound to, you know, dry up eventually.
Yeah, even though humans have basically trained dogs to be their best friends and everything.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye! Happy Friday, Junior.
Oh, happy Friday, Junior. Thank you, Amber, for reminding me. I'm a little tired today. I didn't sleep very much, so you'll have to excuse this. You won't have to experience any of the horror of me reading badly, but I will. Because I'm the one who has to edit it. Alright, let's grab a fresh cup of tea.
Do you mean water?
The question is, Amber, did I put a tea bag in here?
No, I don't think you did. I think it's just plain water.
How do you know that?
There's no tea bag in it now.
Well, there might have been a tea bag in it earlier.
I'm not qualified. The water is clear. There's no evidence that there has been any tea in it. With your other tea bag watery stuff, there's like at least this coloration to like give it hints of tea.
Maybe that's just our water system. Water.
It's not how our water looks. We put it through a filter so it doesn't look like that.